Alright, so we are live, so I'm just going to quickly.
That is really a question because if it happened to me in 2021, something related with the new game. But I think it's a good because all people is in Discord servers and Reddit are saying that because
maybe just wait a week and maybe
yes, like 2 weeks so they can fix some updates. Rafa, habla en español.
Alright, so we are live. Welcome everyone to Tier 1 Round 3. It's Singapore here for CTCR Season 2. I have two championship contenders here with me, Randro17 and Lucas Paul 73. McBot cannot be with us. He will not be racing today and he's not at this interview today. So, first question for both of you. Oh, for fuck's sake, the questions are gone. Alright, oh, there you are. Alright, so, now the obvious question for both of you. Your race in Bahrain didn't go well for both of you, obviously. Randro crashed out from a collision between both of you, obviously an accidental collision. And then you, Lucas, obviously you ended up retiring later that race. So we'll start with Randro. How did you feel after that race, and how did you respond so well to be back on the podium in China? Yep, definitely. And then the same question for you, Lucas. How did you feel after that race? Yeah, obviously that next race definitely went well. Obviously China, there was no stream, but both of you were on the podium that race. An excellent race from both of you. Starting with the race winner, how did that race go for you, Lucas Paul? Yeah, you've done very well. And then obviously Randro, you did get a podium. You did get a podium. You did finish second, despite the stewards awarding you a penalty. How did that race go for you? Yeah, the collision. Yeah. Obviously, it's quite obvious that both of you are in a championship fight. Obviously, you both have the chance to overtake McBot here. With the if you win tonight, obviously he cannot make it. So, how are you going to approach these final few races in Singapore and the three races after that? We'll start with Lucas. Yeah, definitely. And then yeah, all right. And then same question for you, Randro. How are you going to approach this race and the final few? Yeah, definitely. And a very good luck to both of you. That's all the questions I have for you. So now that both of those interviews are over, we will get on to the track announcement for the final three races. Obviously, two of them are confirmed, which is Brazil and the United Kingdom, but then there's a third track which nobody knows other than the stewards. So thank you, Lucas. Thank you, Randro. That's enough from you. Okay, so while we wait for the last person to join, we are just going to announce the track. So next week's track and the sprint race, the one sprint race of this season, is going to be the United Kingdom. So this will be on the 8th and 9th of July. It'll be a sprint weekend, which means that we'll have 18-minute quali, a 5-lap race, and then there'll be a 50% race after that, which the grid for that will be decided from obviously the 5-lap race. After that will be middle track, the one that no one knows yet. It is on the total season 2 calendar, but obviously we've cut it short. It's actually the track after Singapore, and it will be Imola. It got one more vote than the Netherlands for track number 2, and that will be on the 15th and 16th of July. Finally, our finale on the 22nd and 23rd of July, it will be Brazil, the most voted track out of all of them on what we would host, and it has been voted by the server. And so they are the 3 tracks announced for the end of the season. Hopefully it's a good run to the end of July. So then let's just get this final guy in and we can get going for Singapore. And he is in, and we will get going. He is selected, so okay, so like if the people of the stream can let us know what the weather will be like for the race, if that is possible. Okay, chat is open for anyone who'd like to ask a few questions. Otherwise, we should get as possible for. Okay, so the first people out on a hot lap, Jinx is the first one out on track. We'll get our lap data, telemetry, track map, everything we need up. We will have okay. So most of the grid is out. Lightning Luke is last one out of the pit lane. S Junior for replacing the dirty Beyond Jensen on his debut here for CTCR. We'll see how quick this lad can be. Can he maybe give him high expectations, and can he jump straight into the championship battle? Obviously it's Randro and it's Lucas Paul. They're the two guys that are competing for a championship at the moment. As we hope to have one more person join, which will make it 14, one more Red Bull reserve to make it 14 here for qualifying, as Bluefoot seems to be coming out of his garage. We'll switch back to first man out on track, Jinx in the Haas, as there is a yellow flag. I think it is just Pat Kenny or the random kid. I think it's Pat Kenny. Just going a bit slow. We'll switch back again to Jinx. He starts his flying lap. So far it's been a clean lap, but he's just nicked the wall a bit. I wonder if he got any damage from that. I don't know. Is that someone off, or is that just a slow car? Back at sector 1, as Jinx has seemed to abandon his lap already. Yep, he has. So we'll switch to Randro and we'll go through his lap with him. Obviously one of the favourites to win today. We'll see what he can set. Of course, sets the fastest sector 2 and is flying around the streets of Singapore. Behind him, I'm pretty sure, is Random Kitty Captain. We'll see what time he can set, but first we'll go to the man who is third in the championship. What time can he set as he rounds the final corner? Opens DRS and a 1:36.2 is not a bad time at all. So next up is Pa Kenny. He is into the pit lane, and behind him is Lucas Paul, who is invalidated and also goes into the pit lane. S Junior invalidated his lap, so he has to go again. And most people are in the pit lane, only one lap set so far. Jinx did go for another lap, or is starting his second lap, as his first one was into the 2 minutes. Hopefully does not get slowed by Twin Gene, but Twin Gene is also on a flying lap himself. We will switch to It's Bluefoot, who is on a flying lap. 26 seconds in the first sector, and the second sector is the quickest of all, which is very interesting. Random Kitty, 2 seconds slower than has the fastest sector 2. I don't know what his sector 1 was like, but we'll see, as Griffin goes 4 seconds off the pace in the Williams, obviously on the podium last night in the Alfa Romeo. Here goes Bluefoot to the line, opens DRS. It's a 1:37.8. which is still a good bit off Rando's time, or Randro's time. Seems to be an incident down at turn 1 involving Mixel and Lucas Paul. I think it's just people coming out of the pit lane going extremely slow, which there's not much wrong with. So Lucas Paul straight back out onto another lap. No waiting about with him. As Random Kitty has caused the yellow flag, I think it's just him going slow as he brings it into the pit lane. Techno Sizzle is starting his flying lap now. He is the first person to start a flying lap that isn't already on one, or that hasn't already set one. As it goes around the first few corners, just about keeps it on the track. Obviously, I'm not a fan of this straight here. Obviously, this is where I went out last night. Probably wouldn't have seen the stream footage, wasn't very good. But Techno has taken it very well, and it does say the fastest sector 1. Now we'll have to wait and see if that's true, but it isn't a bad time as it's looking so far. Possibly to have a Mercedes front row lockout at the moment. At the moment, he's still the only one on a hot lap at the moment, as Lucas Paul and Mixel both start their flying laps, and Pat Kenny and I think that's Bluefoot starting their second. We've 12 viewers at the moment, just the most we've ever had. Another purple sector for Techno Sizzle, so either this is a supreme lap or the game is playing tricks on us. We'll have to wait and see. We won't know until he hits the line as he goes through the bridge section. Oh no, that's the tunnel section? I don't know. We'll have to see. He comes to the line now. It's not going to be close to Rando's time, so the game was playing tricks on us. But it was a good lap, and it does 4. Right on board with Lucas Paul. He's the next person who is closest to finishing a hot lap, and he has set a purple sector 2, and that could well and truly be true. We'll have to see. These very 90-degree corners are quite difficult to take as Lucas Paul comes around the final corner, and he does set the fastest time, and look at that, we are in for a treat of a battle today. So close to Randro, which means that these two will be scrapping towards the end of qualifying. Mixel is into the pit lane, he was unable to set a time. Everyone else is currently still in the pits. Kenny is on a time at the moment, but I think he has no front wing, so there's no point in him completing that time. He's gonna dash into the pit lane. Next person we see to cross the line will be Randro to start his next flying lap. There's yellow flags everywhere, so I can't even see how much time we have left in the session, as it's Jinx going slow as he's on his way into the pit lane. I'd like for him to hurry up just to see how long left of the session we have. We have 7 minutes and 50 seconds. If anyone is being race engineer or something tonight, I would like you to tell me what the weather will be like for the race, because obviously we do not have access to that. As we go on board with Randro, who has improved on his time. He has set a purple sector 1. He needs to improve by just a tenth in order to jump Lucas Paul to championship battles, championship fighters who want to capitalise on FaZe McBot not being here tonight. in this short season, it still means everything to these drivers to be able to win it. He has 2/10 up in his time, which is only going to be good for the Mercedes driver as he goes through the 90-degree corners before he gets to the line. Next through the tunnel section. He's taking everything really smooth at the moment. The Mercedes #1 driver. Arguably you could say the best driver in the league. We'll soon find out to see if he goes top. Brandro does improve and goes into the 135s, 2.5 tenths quicker than Lucas Paul, and is on provisional pole. No one is improving at the moment. Everyone's either invalid or just not set a lap. As Griffin lets a few by, going into the bridge section. So Lightning Luke still hasn't set a lap time. LOI Shamrock is starting his, reserving for Emilio, the championship winner last year in the Red Bull. What can Shamrock do with his time? Everything's fairly quick. When you're either in the pit lane or you're setting a lap, there's no real... You can set a lap and then set another one. I think this is going to be Shamrock's probably only lap unless he can get around and about quickly. He has, according to the game, set 2 purple sectors. I do doubt that, but we will see when we come to the line. As Pat Kenny does not set a time and has retired. I think he's probably gone wide there just off that DRS straight. As Shamrock will come to the line and will be close with Lucas Paul and Bluefoot. And he goes alongside his Red Bull teammate and has a Red Bull second row at the moment. Nobody else is on a fast lap, I don't think, other than Twin Gene. Seems to be on one now at the moment. He is level with his first time as he runs a bit wide, but does keep it on the track without exceeding track limits and getting his track time deleted. He is hoping to improve a lot. Hopefully maybe get up onto the 3rd row. That is the objective for most of these drivers. Oh, he just clips the wall there on his rear tyre, and that will not gain him any time at all. If anything, it will make him lose time, and he is 5/10 down. Mixel has set a time just there, we missed that. He has gone P9 with Techno Sizzle. Invalid in P10. Griffin 6/10 down and smacks the wall. I think he may have got yellow wing damage. He has. He's lost his left end plate there. That's not great for him, as Lucas Paul is out nice and early for his possibly going to do 2 hot laps. Griffin has retired at the chicane section before the bridge. He hasn't kept it too clean, and he will be starting at best P11 in qualifying as we watch Lucas Paul. Randro hasn't come out yet, and I am starting to believe that he won't be coming out at all. He believes he has set the best time he could possibly do. Maybe a Sebastian Vettel in, I believe, 2011, where he got pole in his garage around Singapore. We'll see how much does Lucas Paul improve in order to get pole position here, as it's been a very clean sector 1 so far from him, and he is just under a tenth up. So the time is below 1 minute and 40 seconds, which means that Randro will not be coming out and setting another lap. He's either on pole or he is not. We will have to see. Hopefully Lucas Paul doesn't get held up by Shamrock. Shamrock's gone wide and has ended up in the barriers. We would take a look at that, but quite frankly we are not bothered, because Lucas Paul is about to end his sector 2 and we want to see how much he has improved by. He is up, he is down by just over a tenth. That is not good at all. He's going to have to shave a lot of time off his sector 3 if he wants pole position here. And we will have to see if he did, because it looked like he was squirming a bit on his time when we were looking on his first time. So we will have to see if he did improve. He goes to the line now as that Red Bull or the Ferrari is absolutely flying it. Is it going to be pole position? It is not. He improves on his time, but not enough for pole. And that he has maybe got enough battery to go again. We'll have to see. We'll switch to Bluefoot, who is 1/10 up in his time. He's hoping possibly to get ahead of Shamrock, who obviously DNF'd, as S Junior has set the fastest time, but in doing so afterwards has DNF'd his car. Or not the fastest time, sorry, I meant P2. He has set a quicker one than Lucas Paul, so Lucas Paul is going to have to improve in order to jump the AlphaTauri here. He is going for another flying lap, but he has very little ERS to deploy, and that is not going to help him at all. The red light is flashing on the back of the Ferrari, which isn't going to help him at all. And we'll have to see if he will. Otherwise, it'll be him on the second row. Bluefoot is 2/10 up in his time as he comes to the end of the lap. Will he jump Shamrock? He won't. He is only 1/10 up, and Shamrock will be P4, unless Victor Mean has something to say about that. He is 7/10 up on his time at the moment. He is going to be the second last driver to set a lap, and it's going to be very interesting on where he sets it, because after that it will be Lucas Paul to see if he does improve, as Victor Mean invalidates on the final turn, and that is so disappointing for him. That possibly would have been him up onto maybe the second row, as Lucas Paul loses the rear end and abandons his lap. It's going to be P3 for Lucas Paul to bring the end to a magnificent qualifying here in Singapore. So disappointing, and the Ferrari driver, who is currently second in the championship, has a lot of work to do as we go for a rundown through the grid. On pole position from his pit box is Randro 17. S Junior on his AlphaTauri and CTCR debut will line up along the front row alongside him. Lucas Paul 73 in P3. Joining him on the second row is LOI Shamrock. Bluefoot in P5, Random Kitty P6, Victor Me in P7, Twin G in P8, Mixel in the Aston Martin in P9, and Techno Sizzle rounds out the top 10. The final 4 drivers, Jinx, Lightning Luke, Griffin and Pat Keddy. 3 of those are Tier 2 drivers. Lightning Luke couldn't quite get grips of the car around Singapore today. So, it's been an excellent qualifying, and hopefully the race is the same. As we'll just quickly look, it doesn't seem like there's been much incidents. Obviously a lot of people did exceed track limits and then a few people crossing the line on the pit exit, and I hope not to do that tomorrow as we go for the race. Throw in your predictions there in chat, in the YouTube live stream chat. I will read them and see who is correct. Throw in your podium predictions, your winner, your fastest lap, whatever you fancy. I will be back in just under 1 minute time. So, as Randro 17 leads us away for the formation lap, I was not wrong with my prediction with S Junior 4 in throwing himself possibly into the championship fight, because he is splitting the two championship contenders here. But Randro now possibly the favourite to win. So Sam Riley has an S Junior win. I wonder if that's his mate or if that's him himself, or maybe it's someone else. I do not know. Irish Shamrock says Randro, Lucas Paul, and then himself. So I wonder what will happen to the AlphaTauri driver. And then Griffin predicts himself on the podium, just like last night. So you are S Junior. Alright, well, best of luck, Sam. I hope to be interviewing you at the end of the race, as Griffin and Pa Kenny, the two Alfa Romeo Tier 2 teammates, must have crashed into each other under the formation lap, because they are both disqualified. Investigation will be done after the race. So, here we go. Randro has kept himself fairly close to P2, so the tyres will be warm. There's a bit of a gap, I think, between Victor Mean and Random Kitty. I think it is within 10 car lengths, so he will not be penalised. But it is definitely very close, as the rest of the field then is close behind him. Final chance to throw in your predictions here before race start, so I can read them. Otherwise, we will go. Otherwise, we will get going. So, as we go to Victor Mean, here we go to 5 red lights for the Singapore Grand Prix. It's lights out and away we go. It's a decent start from Randro. He has already jumped. Sam Riley and Lucas Paul will come in just alongside. It's very close between Shamrock and a few others as Lightning Luke drops a few places, but at the moment it's a fairly clean getaway from everyone as Victor Mean is trading places with Random Kitty behind. Otherwise everything is very stable. Nobody has spun out. Griffin has dropped a place to last. Mixo gets by Jinx yet again. He must have been passed. Position change at the moment. Pat Kenny has gone from last to 12th. and Techno Sizzle has got by Mixel, and Mixel dropped again behind Jinx. These two are battling right behind here, and eventually Mixel does stay just ahead of him, breaches the wall as Jinx is going to be alongside. They go very close. Did Mixel hit the barriers there? No, but somebody definitely did. I could see a bit of debris come flying, as I think that's Jinx's side end plate completely ripped off. That is not good at all for the Haas reserve tonight. Obviously won the race last time, but it will be due for an early pit stop today. So it's very close between the top four at the moment, between Randro, S Jr. and Lucas Paul. But Randro at the moment keeping it very, very stable, as he jumps over the sausage curves. Doing that in the new game might end up getting you spin. I don't know, did Lucas Paul hit the barriers there? Looked to have. Maybe it was just a visual glitch. A 1:43.6 on the first lap for Randro, as Griffin must have had a spin in sector 3. He'd done that many times yesterday, and he is into the pit lane. So not much up the top. There is something up the top, as I think S Jr. has got damage. I missed that. He's missing a side end plate. Or is he? He must have got some sort of damage, because he's just dropped 3 places there behind both Red Bulls and Lucas Paul, which has now released Lucas Paul to possibly have a go on Randro ahead. Behind him is LOI Shamrock, who is going very slow at the moment. He is led by Bluefoot. Don't know if that's for maybe the driver's standings. Obviously Shamrock is a reserve. It's Bluefoot isn't. It's actually Bluefoot's first race, I think, unless he did race in China last week. I don't have much info on China, obviously, because of no stream. But at the moment, it has been a very, very clean first few laps. Maybe a few end plates off front wings have gone flying, but they're fairly easy to pick up by the marshals, as Randro's gap to Lucas Paul is only getting bigger. We'll get our telemetry and lap data re-enabled, and we'll get the tyres on. So the people who have pitted early have gone on to mediums. Lightning Luke and Victor Mean both started on mediums, as S Jr. did get slight wing damage, and he is into the pit lane and has a 5-second penalty for speeding, and he has retired from the session. He has gone straight out. Maybe he has to go or something, but he was on for a good race there, and he has retired in the pit lane and left. And he has left the session. Yeah, he must have to go somewhere, and there's nothing wrong with that. His driver obviously will just stay in the pit lane and won't cause any incidents. So the gap between Lucas Paul and Randro only gets bigger, and I can see this in a race where Lucas Paul may not win unless a safety car. It could be McBot wins round 1, Lucas Paul wins round 2, and Lucas Paul and Randro wins round 3, which will make it very interesting, as I'm pretty sure all of them will be here next week. I'll have to see, as someone has gone off there behind. Who is that? That has smashed the wall. It's LOI Shamrock. Has completely lost his front wing and is going to have to try wheel that one back to the pit lane, as he's going to let through Random and Victor Mean. It was going so well for LOI Shamrock until it wasn't, as it's Bluefoot seems to be gaining a bit on Lucas Paul, whether he has slight wing damage or it's just generally slow. We'll have to see. DRS obviously was enabled, and Bluefoot will be gaining on Lucas Paul now for possibly P2, as Victor Mean does use DRS effectively to get by Random Kitty there into P4. Still no safety car at the moment. Everything seems clean, as Bluefoot does have DRS but is way too far back, and as very little battery in order to make a move, as Lightning Luke is into the pit lane. He must have got slight damage. He is changing the front wing, as there is an incident in Sector 3. Griffin has a spin, but just that. So Brandro, the gap is now 3 seconds between him and Lucas Paul, which is only a happy sight for the Mercedes and Uruguayan driver. Lucas Paul looking in his wing mirrors, sees that Red Bull right behind him, but he's just too far back to make a move. Twin Jean uses DRS effectively to get by Randro's teammate Techno Sizzle. Obviously Mercedes are in a championship battle here, not only in drivers but constructors standings, and Twin Jean overtaking Techno there is not helping. As other than that, the only real battle to keep an eye on is Lucas Paul and it's Bluefoot. Lucas Paul is into the pit lane, and it's for a wing change, so we did have slight damage, and that's why Bluefoot was gaining. That is not good at all. Now, will he come out ahead of Twin Jean? He should do in P6, which will give him a lot of clean air, but he may have to possibly change his strategy in order to go for maybe a 2-stop now till the end. We'll have to see. A safety car coming out in these next few laps definitely will affect him, as Twin Jean has a penalty, and I think it is possibly, just exceeding track limits. Techno Sizzle is doing well enough to stay with him and has a good ERS deploy, but so does Twin Jean, as they do start to gain, but doesn't gain enough. This is the real battle just to keep an eye with at the moment. There's not much else happening. Obviously Alpine would love to be in a bit of a battle themselves, and Victor Meehan on the podium at the moment is a good sight to see for Alpine. Only 6 points in Tier 1 at the moment. Their Tier 2 counterparts doing a much better job with 37 points altogether. Big Git doing wonders for the Alpine team. Aston Martin in P4 at the moment with 32, as Bluefoot and Rando are in, and Rando is just in for a normal pit stop, and Bluefoot has followed him, so maybe those tyres do wear very quickly, so possibly Lucas Paul was just holding off with that wing damage until now. The other ones have gone long. Obviously Victor Meehan I don't think was unable to set a lap, unless he came in on lap 1, did he? No, Victor Meehan was unable to set a lap, so he had a free choice of tyre from where he was. So Victor Meehan is in P1, but gets a 3-second penalty for exceeding track limits. He just ran a bit wide there, and that is not good at all for the Alpine driver. So effectively Random Kitty at the moment is in the lead. The Tier 2 head admin is leading a Tier 1 race. He hasn't won a race at the moment. He almost did in Baku of last year before being taken out by Lightning Luke. He is in P12. He has not had a good Season 2. But obviously new regulations going into Season 3 onto the new game is going to be interesting, as Lucas Paul is gaining on Bluefoot. So we did get a bit of an undercut there in that lap. He did pit under, and he is hoping to get a move done. Bluefoot did race last week but DNF'd around China, so Lucas Paul will be gaining and hoping to get a move as soon as he can. He is 1.2 seconds up on his time, as the gap between Bluefoot and essentially the leader in Randro is 6 seconds, and then Randro is 10 seconds behind us. Pat Kenny gets by Random Kitty because Random Kitty is into the pits, and he went in very slowly there, which obviously means he doesn't get a penalty. But did he have wing damage? So Randro overtakes him, and the Ferrari and Red Bull will too. No wing damage. He is in for a tyre change onto the medium compound, and he will come out in essentially P4. But I think Pat Kenny could be on a one stop here. It could be interesting to see if that works the whole way. See if a safety car does come out in these next few laps. It will be interesting. Random Kitty has come out into a big battle here between Techno Sizzle and Twin Gene, and he is on fresher tyres, so this will be interesting. We switch to Lucas Paul, who's going to go for one down the inside. He's going to run Bluefoot a bit wide. Will he try one round the outside, or maybe go for the switch back? Bluefoot does extremely well defending his position there. He knows that this is a battle for P2, and he is keeping that P2 extremely well. Bluefoot 05 in the Red Bull. Red Bull versus Ferrari, just like season 1. But obviously it's going to be Ferrari versus Mercedes once Lucas Paul does get by the Red Bull driver. If it does happen. Techno Sizzle is gaining on Twin Gene and has a good run on him here. With DRS and Slipstream, he may go for it here. Possibly round the outside. They go very close. Twin Gene forcing him all the way around the outside. He's going to stick with it. Randro gets a 3-second time penalty for exceeding track limits. That's not going to help his race, despite being 8 seconds ahead. Twin Gene defends well, and Randro sets the fastest lap doing so. So that shouldn't be a problem. Someone's gone off. Is that Pat Kenny? Pat Kenny has spun out, and hopefully he doesn't hold up Randro. So the gap between Randro and Bluefoot is now 14 seconds. No, just over 9 seconds, sorry. But Randro is 10 seconds behind Victor Meehan, who possibly is on a one stop as well. Bluefoot is close behind Lucas Paul, but not close. Or Lucas Paul is close behind Bluefoot, but not close enough. We switch back to, this time Random Kitty is going to go for one on Techno Sizzle. He's going to try stick it all the way around the outside, late on the brakes. Techno stays with him. Random runs wide. He's going to have to give that position back. He exceeded track limits and gained a position off the track. Now, he may get a penalty for that if he doesn't give that one back, even if the game doesn't tell him to. He hasn't given it back, so that may be under investigation if Techno reports it, as Random is gaining on Twin Gene for P6. Won't get close enough, so Lucas Paul will switch back to him and Bluefoot. All he needs is a small mistake beside one of these straights, and Lucas Paul may be able to get a move done. Pat Kenny is into the pit lane on the hards, which means that he did get damage on that lap 1 spin. So Victor Meehan, with his 3-second time penalty, is out in front. As we watch Lucas Paul and Bluefoot go down the straight, there was a clean exit from Lucas Paul, and he is gaining on Bluefoot here. And this time he may try one round the outside. That one doesn't work, but Bluefoot goes a bit wide. They really are front wing to diffuser here. They are very, very close behind each other. But they're only holding each other up by battling here. The Ferrari and Red Bull driver. Everything is going so far to plan for Randro 17. He's just cruising out in front, although having his penalty, which could come into effect if there's a later safety car. He is gaining on Victor Meehan, and we will switch back to that when the time comes, as Random Kitty still gaining on Twin Gene, but Twin Gene is being a super defender at the moment and trying to defend that position. Obviously Random Kitty has been notorious for his dive bombs recently. this game, and he doesn't want to get a penalty even though he is being held up. That main straight just after the pit straight is a very good overtaking opportunity. He just needs to be patient in order to get it done. He does not want to pick up another penalty and penalty point for what he has done before. Kitty. He is usually wants to be late on the brakes, but Twin Gene yet again defends his position. Lucas Paul is getting extremely close to its Bluefoot now in the Red Bull. The gap is now 10 seconds between them and Randro, so Lucas Paul would want to get by as he's going to take a wide line for a better exit down this straight. DRS active, but again he's just too far back, and this is just not long enough for him to be able to make a move. We have just under a third of this race. It was abysmal, not only from the stream point of view, but also the driving standard. To have 4 out of 12 finishers isn't great. To have so far 13 out of 14 with 11 laps gone is great, as Lucas Paul is gaining yet again in this very fair fight at the moment. Randro is gaining on Victor Mean. It's degrading, and so is Lucas Paul. Going to send one down around the outside, but in off Kenny again, who has gone off, and his whole plan of the one stop has really gone down the drain. Victor Mean and Randro get close, as Randro is going to go down the inside, and Victor Mean, like a very sportsman-like driver, will let him by. As there is yellow flag into sector 3, it's Lightning Luke, who has gone long and is about to be lapped now, and would go and do it. Yep, he will let them through. It's not been a good race so far for the AlphaTauri team. Obviously SR Junior, or S Junior, was on for a thrilling race, but at the moment it's just going to be nothing else, as Victor Mean is into the pits and gets a penalty for speeding. Lightning Luke is into the pit lane after being lapped and retires from the session, so that is no points for the AlphaTauri team, and luckily good driving, because there is no close for Randro there. And is on the onto hards. He has an 8 in his 5 seconds in the pit lane. So Lucas Paul is in third. He is still miles away from Randro, but that's a visual glitch because apparently he's 1/10 behind. We will ignore that. Lucas Paul is 5/10 behind Bluefoot and is gaining again, but again just cannot get by. He is using all his ERS to attack, and Bluefoot is using all his ERS to defend. He needs to just hold that up get to maybe the 50s and 60s, and maybe he may be able to make a move, because he is gaining on raw pace. The DRS will keep with him. He just needs to have that ERS. Does he scrape the wall? I don't think he did. Definitely did on screen, but I don't think he actually did. So it's poor for Alpine and Twin Gene. He has retired, which is another no scoring points for the Alpine team. Eloy Shamrock has recovered from his no wing, and he is now P6. It's an interesting race with the amount of battles going on, but no safety car maybe to spice things up. Obviously, the less safety cars the better, but having no safety cars at all would be a bit boring. Lucas Paul is in P3 and is saving up that ERS a little bit more than Bluefoot, who is derating. But at the moment, again, too far back to make any moves. Again, he is close again this time, but this straight is just way too short to be able to make a move. But you can just see how close these two are going through that chicane there. So just under halfway to go. It's looking safe for Randro at the front, even with his 3-second penalty. If he just keeps up that pace, I don't see how he wouldn't win this race. Lucas Paul has DRS activated, but no ERS being deployed. He is saving as well. It is a place where you can save your ERS over a few laps, Singapore, and he is into the 30s now, and Bluefoot is down in the single digits, so maybe this is the time to make the move. He is going to use his DRS, and Bluefoot is derating. Lucas Paul pulls to the inside and goes late on the brakes, and Bluefoot also goes later, and he's managed to stay on track and somehow defends the position as Lucas Paul hits the wall, and I think he's definitely got wing damage there. Surely he does, as Griffin picks up a 3-second time penalty down in P11 and has been lapped by Randro. He is losing time. I think he has got wing damage there, Lucas Paul, which isn't good for his championship battle. Jinx lets through Randro. Jinx is playing the long game. He does seem to have that bit of understeer, which could be a result of wing damage. We'll have to see. Yep, the gap is now one. Sure. Yeah, he's hit the wall again. He's into the pits. Oh, and he's just gone over the wall, the line a bit there. Could possibly be penalised for that, we don't know. But he is into the pit lane. And will he come out behind Victor Mean and Random Kitty? He's onto the hards. Yes, he will. He'll come out ahead of Shamrock though. Victor Mean back up into P3, but with Random Kitty chasing him. We'll have to see how this one ends. Lucas Paul onto the hard tyre till the end of the race. And you'll see how that works out for him. So there is no gap at all to anyone, possibly for the podium, but it seems to be only gaining that gap between Victor Mean and Random Kitty. So we just have to wait until something spices things up. Griffin is not giving up at all. He is back out with a new wing and onto the track. He does not want to retire from the session yet, as he is lapped I think that's being lapped. He's been lapped, yeah, by P8. And he'll be lapped by everyone if a safety car comes out. So that surely is race over for Griffin, as Jinx is into the pit lane. And he has retired from the session, so Griffin will get into the points. Despite everything that has happened for him so far, he just wants to stay in the race and keep racing. And I have no problem at all with that. Jinx retires and there's only 10 people left in the session. Yellow flag. Just Jinx in the pit lane. Ooh. Things really are dying down at the moment, except Pat Kenny getting close to Techno Sizzle, who is in AI mode, but he has an exception for that. He DM'd me about that. He has to quickly go into AI mode. He will be out soon, and most likely will be passed by Pat Kenny here on this straight. There's Random Kitty picks up a time penalty for multiple warnings. Lucas Paul isn't quite gaining on Victor Mean at the moment. Can't seem to warm up those hard tyres. He's getting awfully close to the barriers, but at the moment everything is looking good for Bluefoot. He could possibly win this race if something does happen, and something has happened. Griffin has hit the wall and the virtual safety car is out. Griffin goes into the barriers there, trying to find the reverse gear. He has. I think Griffin is just a liability to this. He needs to retire from the session, obviously in the pit lane, because I think that's the 4th or 5th time he has spun out. Virtual safety car is out and Randro is in for his final pit stop, and so is Bluefoot, which gives them a big advantage over Victor Mean, who is coming out of final corner now. Victor Mean is on the hards and he will probably go till the end of the session. Pat Kenny has retired. Where is he? Oh, he's retired on track. It's a safety car. It is a safety car, which really does spice up this Grand Prix now. Pat Kenny runs wide and DNFs as Griffin retires from the session in the pit lane. So there's 8 runners left in this race. All of the tier 2 guys are out, and the rest will all be lined up and ready to go racing here. Pat Kenny completely bins it there just at the start of sector 2. And Because no one has been lapped so far. It's just everyone is in single file order as Shamrock is into the pit lane. Lucas Paul has stayed out. Now I don't know if he'll come in next lap. I think he will, because I think he was just waiting to see if Shamrock would pit, as Shamrock passes the safety car as they all wait for Randro to pick up the safety car. Obviously under the Delta, so that's the first safety car of this race and hopefully the only one. And it is a very interesting one because it means, so Victor Meehan hasn't gone into the pits anyway either. Now I wonder will he come in, because Lucas Paul is definitely going to come in. There's no way he's going to go on hards when everyone else on fresh mediums. He has the chance to go into fresh mediums and stay ahead of Random Kitty. And then Victor Meehan probably will come in as well. He may lose the position to Bluefoot, but no. Or he is. He's crossed the white line there. But I think that will be okay. So Bluefoot does pass him. And Lucas Paul comes into the pit lane. And does get in perfectly. So the final question now, there's one more driver on the hard tyre, and that is Random Kitty. Will he come into the pit lane for mediums? Obviously he will lose the place to Shamrock and Mixel because of this. Oh, and Techno Sizzle has been lapped by Randro, so Techno Sizzle is going to be in the way of him and Bluefoot. Oh, that is unfortunate. And he is back as well. He is not in AI. So that is most likely the end of his race. Random Kitty stayed out on the hards, which is a bold move from him. It means he has jumped Lucas Paul, who was in the pit lane, but will be on much worse tyres. This really has opened up now for Bluefoot if he can keep behind Randro, because Randro has obviously the penalty as Techno Sizzle is into the pits in P8, and obviously he was lapped, so I'm guessing he's in to retire. He's put on the hard tyre and is gonna keep going. That's what it looks like. No, he has retired as Mixel goes by him. So there's 7 runners, which obviously is still better than last night, but luckily it's been a very clean race, mostly just people retiring in the pit lane, and the championship leaders or contenders are still in it. We run through the standings here as the safety car will be in this lap. So FaZe McBot leading, but won't be today, because if Randro wins this race, that will give an extra 25 points to him, which will put him ahead of McBot. Lucas Paul needs to finish on the podium in order to jump FaZe McBot. Then it is Michelangelo, who will not be racing for the rest of the season. Then it's Mixel, who's having a very good time in P5, and he is running P7, and his teammate Rando who I think is in America at the moment, or he's somewhere. He is P6, and oh wait, is he? Well, no, he should be P7. Techno Sizzle is in P6 with a podium and 15 points. He is out in P8 as the safety car is in this lap. Then it's Emilio in P8 with 12 points. Random Kitty in P9 with 9 points. And Twin Gene rounds up the top 10 with 6 points. Victor Mean has not had a point yet. He is currently on a podium, but probably won't be because of his penalty, as Randro is going to decide when we get back racing again. Trying to warm up his tyres. When will he go? The safety car is into the pit lane, so it's now up to Randro on when he wants to go. Dummies, he goes. Randro, he's left him napping, and Victor Mean does get ahead of Bluefoot. Now, did he get ahead before the checkered flag? I do not know, as Victor Mean is going to possibly pressure Randro. Lucas Paul drops a few places. Shamrock has got by him. Lucas Paul may try another move to get back. This is not looking good. Second in the standings. By Shamrock, who gets ahead. Random Kitty sends one down the inside. Very, very bold move, and Shamrock has the better traction. Going to try send one around the outside. And Random, ooh, he's going to squeeze him really. And Random forces him out of road. And here comes Lucas Paul down the inside, and is spun round by Shamrock, hits the wall, and is down to P7. I don't think that's Shamrock. I think Random Kitty should not be putting up defensive manoeuvres like that, and eventually cause a chain reaction which led to Shamrock and Lucas Paul in the wall. He's on slower tyres. He should not be defending that harshly. He has the right to defend, but not like that, as Shamrock trying to get by, because he knows that if he does get by, there's a podium on for him. Everyone in the top 4 has a penalty unless Shamrock overtakes Random Kitty here. 7 viewers in the stream, thanks very much for watching. As the moment, there is no real battle at the moment other than Shamrock trying to get by Random Kitty, who is on worse tyres. Not only are they older hards, but they're also just generally hard tyres. They don't run well around fast swinging corners. They just don't run well at all on this game. They've equal ERS, and they're both trying to deploy it, but the better tyres for Shamrock are coming in big here, as he doesn't know where to go. Eventually forces him wide, and he picks up a penalty himself from going off the track, and Random Kitty has been overtaken. It's not been a good race for the Argentinian Ferrari driver of Lucas Paul, as Mixel, he's obviously, I think he's P5 in the standings, hoping to get P5 in the race here. Where will he send the move? And Random, oh, he's clipped the wall. Random. Mixel takes a much better line. Random really does force him to the outside very aggressively there. But the hard tyres are no match for these mediums, as Lucas Paul, I don't think he got any front wing damage, maybe a bit of rear wing, which shouldn't be a bad thing around this track. Obviously maybe a little bit more drag, but that should only be it. Obviously the rear downforce may be affected too. Randro sets the fastest lap and gains a 2-second lead to himself and Victor Mean, as Lucas Paul is lining up a move on either one of these drivers, whether that be Mixel, who's just picked up a penalty. Lucas Paul, the only man on track without a penalty at the moment, as Random Kitty and Mixel go very close and they bang wheels, and Mixel's gone wide, and Random Kitty touches with Lucas Paul and is in the barriers. I don't think Lucas Paul got any damage there, But he has gained a place, and Random Kitty, I don't want to say it, but does deserve that from the defending he was putting up. He has eventually got caught up in it and has now dropped to P7 as Lucas Paul flies by Mixel as well, who may have got a bit of damage battling with Random Kitty. So Lucas Paul has got himself back up to P5 and will start to try gain on LOI Shamrock in P4, who, if he didn't pick up that penalty at the moment, he would be running in a podium position. Actually no, he wouldn't be, because he's 5 seconds behind, but he may catch up eventually. Randro, everything is going well for him at the moment, as long as another safety car doesn't come out. It's Bluefoot and Victor Mean having a little bit of a scrap here for position for P2. They don't want to now get themselves too caught up in it, because they have a guaranteed podium here if they just keep themselves on the low. DRS obviously now enabled. Bluefoot just wondering when the move will come about. Ooh, Victor Mean, just a snap of oversteer there, coming out of turn 3. As Bluefoot is gaining, and with DRS and using all of his ERS, he pulls to the inside, and Victor Mean doesn't put up a fight, but he knows Victor Mean, he has more ERS and lesser tyres. He may be able to strike back. He can see the red light flashing on the back of the Red Bull, which means that the ERS is low from the Red Bull, who is still deploying it at the moment. Random and Mixel are both onto soft, so they most likely will set the fastest lap of the Grand Prix, as Victor Mean and Bluefoot go very close with each other again, but still Bluefoot gets a better exit. So we will come back to them and see what happens, as Lucas Paul is gaining on Shamrock, and with the battle going on between Lucas Paul or Bluefoot and Victor Mean, it's only really gonna fall into the hands of Lucas Paul without the penalty, possibly to jump all the way up into P2, as the gap between Randro and Bluefoot is only increasing. 7 laps to go as Randro crosses the line. It's going to be interesting to see who will take the checkered flag, and if there will be another safety car possibly. Lucas Paul just has to do what he's doing, keep putting that pressure up as Victor Mean and Bluefoot continue to battle. Don't actually see really Shamrock gaining on these, despite the battle that they are doing to each other. The gap between Shamrock and Victor Mean is very stable, but the gap between Lucas Paul and Shamrock is definitely not stable. Lucas Paul is gaining a lot each lap. It's the gap between Randro and Bluefoot is only getting bigger. Victor Mean has fresher tyres, DRS, and a lot more ERS, but just cannot seem to get close enough to Bluefoot to arguably make a move. Shamrock has gained slightly as Lucas Paul is still gaining many tenths on Shamrock and can finally see the Red Bull in front of him. The gap between Randro and Bluefoot continues to increase. Techno Sizzle leaves the session, and I haven't seen Mixwell or Random Kitty put in a fastest lap at the moment. We'll see who has the fastest lap. It is Randro, and it is going to be an impressive time to beat, a 1:38.8. Maybe Lucas Paul will pit if he cannot get a move done on Shamrock. Actually, probably not, because he will gain more points by not doing that. Gap is now 1 second. So this is going to be the battle to watch at the moment. Shamrock is actually losing time to the battle between Bluefoot and Victor Mean. Lucas Paul is gaining a lot of time on Shamrock, but is using a lot of ERS. So is LOI Shamrock. The only person with a lot of ERS deploy at the moment is really nobody. Probably Victor Mean has the most. So Lucas Paul now has ERS, 3 ERS, but obviously too far back to make a move. As Mixwell crosses the line, I see on his mini-map he doesn't set a fast lap anyway. Ooh! Lucas Paul hits into the back of Shamrock. Is that wing damage? He has lost time. And he hits the wall again. I think that is wing damage. That is not good at all for the Ferrari driver. Wow. Yep, he is losing a lot of time. He has got wing damage there off the back of LOI Shamrock, just as maybe he was about to make a move. And he probably will pit now and get the fastest lap, but that must be very disappointing for Lucas Paul. Yeah, he's hitting all sorts of walls here. He doesn't want to put it in a wall. That will really damage his championship hopes. So he will soon be in the pit lane for a new wing, some fresh softs, and he may set the fastest lap. But at the moment that is really, really annoying for the Ferrari driver. That's going to be no podium at all for him, because it's too late for a safety car. So he just needs to get in, get onto those fresh tyres. He's staying out. He's not coming into the pit lane. Unless maybe he comes in next lap. He's not taking it. Not taking the chance of coming in and getting the wing change. Because He is losing time. As there's not much really battling at the moment. Still this Victor Mean and Bluefoot battle, but I don't see Victor Mean making a move. He's just kind of sitting behind waiting, but both of them have limited ERS. They don't really know how to just save it up for a move. So this is probably going to be the end of our results for the end of this race. Oh, and that's definitely not any good at all for Victor Mean. He has picked up another time penalty, which puts him at 6 alongside Mixel, and that means it will be definitely no P2 for him. He will probably finish P3 unless Shamrock can pick up his pace. As Lucas Paul is into the pit lane now. Is it not a lap late now? Or maybe no, maybe he's just got this right. We'll have to see if Mixel's going to be able to catch up himself. The gap between Victor Mean and Bluefoot is now increased to a second, as I don't think Mixel is going to be able to catch Lucas Paul, who has put on... Has he just put on 10 lap old mediums? He has. And that is very interesting from Lucas Paul. So he hasn't chose the soft compound tyre. He's put on a different set of mediums, which means I don't think there will be any fastest lap here from the Ferrari driver. That is very, very interesting. He must have made a mistake on the MFD, and will only be finishing P5. Randro is going to get it all today. He's going to get pole position, fastest lap and a win if he can keep it on the track for this final lap. So there's not much else to watch. We'll ride on board with this final lap from Randro. Finally, after all these first 3 races, he will take the lead of the championship, as long as he doesn't put it in a barrier on this last lap. I don't want to jinx him. Commentator's curse, you know. But obviously pole in Bahrain, and he DNF'd that race. He potentially could have got pole in China. That was taken away from him by a dirty driver. And then obviously finishing P2 nonetheless anyway that race. He got pole today. He's at the fastest lap early enough today. And there was a safety car. There was a load of people being thrown at him. But everything he has done today, done right. And he will win this race as he enters Sector 3. It's been a long race, definitely. An hour and a half of racing around Singapore. Ooh, as he scratches the wall there. But I don't think he has got any damage there, as he goes through the tunnel section for the final time round the last chicane. Randro 17 done nothing wrong today. He rounds the final corner and wins the Singapore Grand Prix. Behind him is its Bluefoot in P2 with Victor Mean in P3. LOI Shamrock is close behind. Did he get the jump on Victor Mean? Just about didn't. As Lucas Paul, he is only starting his Sector 3 now. And he is going to finish P5. Potentially a championship lead if everything went well today. It unfortunately didn't. But I'm sure he will be happy enough to take away 10 points today, despite how the race has gone for him. As Lucas Paul drifts it round the final corner and does not obviously set the fastest lap that maybe he could have set. Finally, Mixel P5 in the championship and will go P4 after a solid finish today. And then finally, our friend, our tier 2 head admin, Random Kitty, rounds the final corner, slows up, almost puts himself in a wall, does a donut, and finishes P7. Victor Main, the obvious driver of the day. As there is Randro 17 on the podium. We'll have another interview with him tonight on how that race went. As there's champagne on the podium of Singapore. So, as we round up the grid, Randro, fastest lap, pole position in P1. Perfect race from the Mercedes and Uruguayan driver. It's Bluefoot in P2 in the Red Bull, with Victor Mean from P7 to P3 in the Alpine. LOI Shamrock reserving in Red Bull with P4, Lucas Paul P5, Mixo P6, and the Random Kitty to round off the finishers. Techno Sizzle, Pat Kenny and Griffin round off the top 10. They all DNF'd, with Jinx, Twin Gene, Lightning Luke and S Junior 4 finishing off the race today. It was a very good race from the tier 1 lads, as we hope to get the podium guys into a chat. So stay with us as we want to conclude the race, as it's sent us back into the Singapore paddock. I hope this isn't a glitch. I do not want to restart the stream. I just want to keep going. I will set up the party anyway, as a few of the lads start to leave the session. I suppose we could just do the interviews here anyway. I tried to pause my game, I tried to do anything. Nothing seemed to happen. We'll set up the party anyway, and we'll probably just get the interviews going now. As we add Victor Mean, Randro, and it's Bluefoot, who I think is appearing offline. How's it going?
Better than ever, I think.
Yep, that was a great race, and that's put you top of the standings if everything goes your way.
You won the pole, the race, and the championship race.
And the fastest lap. Don't forget that as well. We just have to wait now for its Bluefoot and we'll get going. I'm stuck on a glitch here, but that doesn't matter. I'll just keep going.
Yeah, I was a bit scared. I was the safety car, but then
Yeah, you got a good restart.
yeah, I got a penalty too, and Victor overtakes me.
Yep. Just gonna have to wait for one more. Just gonna ask, can we join?
Congrats, Victor. You need a solid team. Yeah, yeah, because it was pretty obvious that I was going to go full throttle in the corner, so I tend to wait a bit more. Yep. So we are waiting the Red Bull, right?
Yep. If he can't do it, that's no problem. But I'm just gonna ask anyone.
The streaming can't listen to me, I think. So
Oh yeah, you have to just put it on share. So go to the party. You
yeah,
and then there should be like three dots. Click that, and then it should say like voice chat settings, and then you'll have
in the party, share play. I have to. What I have to do?
no, I think
Yeah,
it's
mine's
you
on.
go to the party, and then there should be like a settings or something like that, and it should say like share voice and then allow. I don't know if you want to check. Do you have this, Victor? So it's you go on.
Yeah,
You're
but
on PS5, so it's just
Yeah, I have to go to
share your
share
voice.
my voice. Share my voice. Okay.
Yeah.
Permitted. Ready. I think the stream is listening to me.
I'll check now. I have it on mute at the moment. Do you want to check, Victor? I don't think Bluefoot is joining, so we're just gonna get on with this.
yeah, I've got it.
All right,
Double check.
that's fine.
Yeah, let's go.
Do you want to check, Victor? I don't think Bluefoot is joining, so we're just gonna get on with this. All right, that's fine.
Yeah, let's go.
All right, yeah, both of you are working. All right, so we'll start with you, Victor Mean. So you qualified P7, if I'm correct. Started on the mediums. So tell us about your qualifying first of all, and how that went.
I was trying to be a bit smart, and I was running Singapore practice earlier, and the softs were just nothing. And I knew I wanted to do a medium hard, but went out and I kind of loaded enough fuel for 2 laps and hit the wall on the second, so I only got one quali lap in on the mediums, and then went out on the softs right at the end and invalidated right at the end, so I didn't really get a chance to. And I think I was like taking it really, really easy on the first push lap, so I didn't really get much of a good lap on the mediums, so I was quite far behind. I think I probably would have been like a second and a half quicker on the mediums if I'd managed to get a second lap, but yeah, it was alright. I mean, starting P5 or P6 or something, I think it was, and the mediums isn't too bad at Singapore.
I think it was P7. You also got driver of the day. So
Not bad.
that is not bad at all. Yeah. Obviously, I heard you say in the all drivers that you would have a guaranteed podium tonight. You weren't wrong with that. Tell us about your race then and how that went.
There was I said I guarantee it if there's no Crash Bandicoot at turn 1, and there was almost one. And
Yeah, it was very, very clean. I think it was.
Yeah,
through
I had
turn
to
one.
back out a bit. Those mediums kind of don't slow down as quick as the softs, but Yeah, it was kind of once you settle in, it was all right. I kind of thought ran the kitty for too long. I think that kind of hurt a bit, and then
Yeah.
once I was out front, I got a couple penalties, and then came into the pits and got another penalty. Like the penalty in the pits was just infuriating. Like I shouted, like I got 28 kph right at the line, tapped the accelerator up to 37. We're told no, didn't need it.
Yeah.
Yeah, all worked out.
Yeah, and then obviously, if you haven't heard, the United Kingdom, Silverstone will be the next track, followed by Imola
Nice.
and Brazil. Obviously, the UK will be a sprint race and the only sprint race of this season. How do you feel going into that? What do you think of Silverstone?
Silverstone's good. Yeah, I think it's a fun track to drive. Is that a sprint quali or just a sprint race?
No, there'll be, so it goes by an 18-minute qualifying session, then followed by a 5-lap race, and the 5-lap race will determine the grid for the 50% race. So it's very similar to our setup, just with a 5-lap race in between.
Yeah.
So it'll be a bit longer, but Silverstone's a fairly short race anyway.
So that probably helps because I think the racing is the easiest way to move up the grid in this game. Like the qualifying, there's a lot of really fast qualifiers.
Especially with first corner incidents.
Oh yeah. Get that
yeah,
on.
Definitely. So good luck there. So obviously there's no Bluefoot, but we do have the race winner, Randro. It was a perfect race for you today. Obviously qualifying P1, and you had a little bit of a up and down with Lucas Paul. Tell us about your qualifying.
Yeah, I just wanted to have a time in the table, so I just go like a third to go get out of the pits, and yeah, then I start my second lap that was very clean. Although I think that I have some margin there to work, but yeah, I found a very good lap, and then Lucas didn't improve, so yeah, very nice.
Yep, and then obviously P1 fastest lap. I think you led every single lap of that race, other than when you had to pit. Tell us about the race. How did that go? Was there any problems along the way?
Well, yeah, actually, a big problem. I don't know when it was, but like in the middle of the race, an Alfa Romeo spun in front of me, and I have to avoid. Like I don't know if you see that.
I think was that before the safety car, or
I think yes, but that was wow. Like
yeah.
my race can be over in that moment. Well then. I was controlling the gaps. The only one that I was taking care of was about Victor, that was in a one stopper, and for a surprise, there was not an early safety car. So yeah, then when I saw that all of us have a penalty, and I was the one that has the better pace, I just control the gaps and try to get the car to the finish line.
Yeah, and then obviously, as I announced there, that the UK Silverstone is next. What do you think of that?
Well, it's my favorite track, so I am really looking forward to race there. I don't know if I am going to be able to race yet, but if I am, I want to enjoy a lot and see what happens with the championship fight, that McBoth is going to be back at Silverstone.
Yep, definitely. So thanks to both of you for attending, and congratulations for the second podium for you, Randro, and the first podium in season 2 for you, Victor Mean. Thanks for everyone for joining in. I hope you enjoyed that race. I certainly did. Tune in Friday next week for Tier 2 Silverstone, and then you'll be back with me on Tier 1 this time on Saturday next week for Silverstone. That's it, and I'll see you later.
Thank you.